Hello. Yay. If you're out there, say hello. Welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. This week's discussion topics include anything you feel is newsworthy about racism, bigotry, and inequality in America. And like I always say, it's pretty much everything. So please say hello and join in. I want to hear what you have to say because there's a lot to say. And don't make me do all the talking because you know I will. So if you're watching, please say hello so I know you're there. And I will try to get this thing working because we have a lot of crazy stuff to talk about, as usual. So just jump in whenever you want. For white Americans, understanding our real racial history supports a more honest discussion of racism in America. And today, I'm going to talk to everybody about some really real stuff. And if there are new people watching, it's a tough thing. If you're a white person in America today, you really need to educate yourself. And it's not an insult. It's not your fault. It's just a responsibility to educate yourself on our real racial history. Because the truth is, our textbooks in school were whitewashed and they didn't teach us the real history. And once you know our real racial history, everything will make sense. And you won't feel so, upset about talking about racism, and you won't feel so just guilty or stressed or whatever you feel. A lot of people think that I do this because I feel guilty or I'm, guilt, I guess, but it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm mad. I'm angry. I don't want to live in a world, and I don't want to live in a nation that boasts liberty and justice for all, but has absolutely no intention of allowing it for all. So I hope that's understandable. So if you're new, please don't run off. I want you to stay, and I want you to just listen. And you can ask me questions later if you don't want to jump in. All right. So I am going to see if I can get anybody here. Yay, I see people. Okay, now I know what to do. Hello. Whoa, that just switched. Hi, Ron. Thank you for being here. And hi, Lakeisha. And hi, Gary. Oh, I'm so happy that you guys are here. I'm going to get started. And please, now that I have you on, I swear I'll figure this out. Hi, Neil. Jump right in. We have so much going on. I'm going to count on your help to keep me filled in and just keep everybody who's watching filled in. All right. So at the risk of, here's the thing. If you're white in America today, and again, I really speak to white people because it's not my place to tell Black people, African-American people, people of color, Indigenous people, brown people what to do. It's not my place. But it is probably more acceptable that I take some responsibility for being a white person. And so that's what I do. I want to educate white folks so that we can support, not lead, our sisters and brothers of color to have real equality, because it's way past time. So in order to make an informed decision, white Americans need to understand and teach themselves how our past and present culture of systemic racism has caused the divisive social issues that plague us today, this minute, as we speak. So at the risk of sounding like a broken record, which I kind of am, I want, if anybody's watching who's, in the majority group member and trying to learn, it's imperative that white Americans educate ourselves so we can educate other white people. So that's why I do this, and jump on in because we have a lot to talk about. I wanted to start tonight by stating some very obvious truths. And you can say duh or whatever you want to say, because I think everybody knows this, but if they've been studying it, or if they have to live it every day, but if they don't, some of this stuff isn't as obvious as, it might seem. Well, so these are kind of obvious truths about our current situation. And we all know that Trump's agenda, at least this is a little commentating, from the beginning has been to make America great again, which is totally code for we've replaced our sheets with shirts and ties, but we're still white supremacists. Our nation was built on and made wealthy on white supremacy. And that's how it was established. So it's going to take a little more than being nice to people, nice to everybody, which is a good thing, or treating everyone equally to dismantle this. It's going to take action and education. So the backlash from a nation that was built on white supremacy that dared to have the gall to elect a Black president is certainly more fierce than I imagined. I don't know. I didn't realize. I knew this nation. I knew a lot about this nation and our racial history and our philosophies. Hi, Leslie. But I never knew it was like over the top like it's been. So, I mean, I feel like once Trump, I don't know what you guys think, but once Trump was created out of this backlash of we're not going to take it anymore. We want our white supremacy. And so it really didn't matter what he did. He was racist. And people who have that mentality, because that's how they were raised, they loved him and it didn't matter. He's the de facto modern leader of the Ku Klux Klan. In my Vernon, hello. Vernon, yay, a comment. If just that fact alone, the nation was built on white supremacy was discussed more, it may lead to better dialogue. Thank you. I'm so excited to see you, Vernon. And absolutely, white America in general is terrified to talk about race and racism. And yep, Vernon, people don't talk about that. And that is the whole point. White America, we need you to start talking about racism. Make a mistake, do what you need to do. But my God, if we don't talk about it, Gary, but they will be willing to listen, but they have to be willing to listen and to try and understand. Stop with the comment that we, people of color, are playing the race card. Yes. Okay, here's the thing, and I'm going to speak to white people, and this is my very white opinion. Gary, absolutely. See, here's the thing, and this is kind of a toughie, but if you're a white person and you want to learn, and tell me what you think, Gary, you want to learn, you really want to learn, you have to do something before you learn. You have to drop your ego at the door. And I mean it. Drop your ego at the door. Because here's the thing. This might help. It's not about you. That's the toughest thing. It's not about what you think or feel. When a Black person or an African-American person or an Indigenous or a Native person tells you their feelings, they are not asking you your opinion. They are not asking you, hopefully, to legitimize that. They are telling you from the heart how it feels to be them. And it is not our place to agree or disagree. We don't get to do that. We don't get to say, well, that's not really how it is. Because see, here's the thing. That's how it is for them. And they are sharing this absolute gift of information. They're sharing a part of their heart. And they don't have to do that. The oppressed person does not have to teach the oppressor. And when somebody tells you that, you have to look at it as a gift. And, you know, you can't be defensive. There is no race card. Anyone who has ever lived as a person, right, Gary, talk to people of color, ask them questions. We won't bite. Exactly. And that is, thank you so much for that, Gary, because you're going to have to, if you're white and you're nervous, you're going to have to take a chance. And yes, you are not to be trusted, probably by most. Live with it, deal with it. You'll get through it. The only way, I mean, what do you expect? Put yourself in people's place who have been oppressed and, you know, treated worse than animals. A lot of their, you know, humanhood or whatever you'd call it. I mean, it's all about taking a risk. I wasn't raised with Black people. Nope. Everyone says, oh, is your husband Black? Is it? No. take a risk. It's what you do because you love your fellow humans. You have to take a risk. And yes, you'll make mistakes and you'll feel stupid and you'll feel like, oh my God, I don't want them to think I'm racist. But who cares? Because it's not about us. Okay, so you got me on a rampage, Gary. You have me going on and on. It's a risk and it is painful, and just do it anyway. Anyone else have? Thank you, Gary. Thank you. So let me see. I better scroll and make sure people aren't saying stuff. This is what I need. I need people who live this. The iconic 220. I started a... I can't read that because I know that's kind of a joke and I don't really get it. So I'm going to just skip that. I'm sort of old. Like I don't get those kind of jokes. But what I wanted to say was, I think of Trump as the de facto leader of the modern KKK. People can say all they want, but you can talk all you want. But the facts speak for themselves. People look at him as a role model. So, do it. I just don't get what you're saying. The iconic 2020. I don't get it. So I'm going to try not to embarrass myself. But okay, I just don't get it. Okay, sorry. The chaos caused by Trump's never-ending stream of daily news is, I don't know about you guys, but it's overwhelming. I mean, it all centers around Trump and the clan of very racist, bigoted, hateful people he's brought in to back him, and his false news, and you are acting too white. Honestly, I do. That's funny. I don't really know how else to be. I just say what I think. I don't follow, I don't follow the rules. So. But at the center of all this is false news, propaganda, and misinformation. And it is overwhelming, just overwhelming for me, at least. I can't imagine people who live this. I can't keep up. And it is absolutely 100% part of the plan. It's part of the plan. See, I think for a while, I think a lot of white folks might think, and I don't know what they think. I don't come to the dark side. Okay, I'm going to ignore you because I don't really get all this, but it's part of the plan. This is not an accident, this overwhelming, just incredibly overwhelming amount of information. The confusion leaves scores of white Americans who don't really know our racial history susceptible to being easily deceived. And I think we all can kind of see that. They buy into his propaganda. They blame all their problems on Black people, African Americans, and other people of color and immigrants. And they're not thinking below the surface level. They don't want to think, and I don't get it because this is really serious. And maybe they've been raised that way. So this is troubling. When I say we don't know our racial history as white people, I don't mean we didn't do well in, U.S. history. I don't mean we didn't get a good grade. What I'm talking about, I wish that was all it was. My God, that would actually be simpler. But what it is we have been left out of important details. Important details, and it's absolutely on purpose. They're not in look at your high school textbooks. They're not in there. It's not an accident. It's not an accident people in Texas call shutdown month today. Yes. Lakeisha, tell me more. Tell me what you think, because you are a wealth of information. I want to know what you're thinking about. This is all on purpose, and people need to get that. The wealthiest elites who run our nation, they realize that knowledge is power, and by controlling the knowledge, they have the power. It's as simple as that. Surprisingly, this strange thing about human nature, and it is such a bizarre thing, Neil, the media keeps him in the front line no matter what media it is, and that is why he gets the attention he gets. Even if it's media who don't like him, or the conservative media who do like him. Yep. Yeah, absolutely, Neil. Absolutely. People are like bamboozled by the guy. I mean, I don't, he is definitely something else. And he's scary because he has an agenda. And I mean, there's a lot going on. Yeah, Neil, 100%. And Lakeisha, the shutdown, yes, the shutdown is devastating. And I want to hear from you what you guys have experienced with the shutdown, with friends and relatives and family and neighbors and just anything you've heard, because this is terrifying. There are people in the United States who aren't going to have food. So, Lakeisha, just bring it on. Anything you want to say, I'll read. Vernon, we just aren't taught the true history, or lots of things are left out. I just learned about Denmark, Vesey. Okay, well, anything you have to share, I'd love you to do so, because this is what this is about. We got to help each other keep up. And I learned about the Scandinavian nations and how a lot of them followed suit exactly what we're doing. And it's pretty scary. Scartelli, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. And Leslie, white people is like the Super Bowl, and white people have been winning for decades. So why should they give up their trophy? I love how you put things. Leslie, by the way, is an amazing writer too. Sorry, I just had to like plug you there. He's seriously an amazing writer. They're not going to give up the trophy. Well, we just don't want to give up the trophy. We just want the opportunity to play. Yeah. And the whole white supremacy thing is such a load of shit. It's ridiculous. We know we're not superior. That's insane. Yet people live this lie. It's unbelievable. Because, I mean, come on. They have to know that they're full of crap. I just don't get it. Lakeisha, Section 8 payments delayed evictions for those on it. Yeah, this is unbelievable. If you're living in Section 8 housing and you're getting the payments, and I'm talking, well, a lot of friends and I have been talking, online but in private about what we can do. I know California has started to look into ways to give back pay, and California is going to do something if they haven't already. I don't know what you guys have heard, because I didn't follow up on it today, but I heard California is going to kick some ass and not listen to Trump and basically give some back pay from, what was it? Unemployment type stuff from the government. They're going to do something. And I also heard somebody in New York talk about it too. So this can't be happening. I mean, do you guys know people who are impacted personally with this? Because people are pretty tight-mouthed, because I mean, it's horrific. It's Gary is asking, Lakeisha, are the landlords actually evicting people? I heard they're giving notice. I've been watching some of the local news, and I heard they're giving notice and they're warning people. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is seriously unbelievable. I couldn't do it. There's no way. Lakeisha, the food pantries are running out of food. Yep. And Lakeisha, sending notices for evictions. Yeah, that's what I read. They were sending notices, and that the food pantries in general are absolutely like overwhelmed. This is really scary. This is really, really scary. And God, just keep bringing it on. I want to know what you guys have to say. Yep, food stamps for March delayed. Is that federally overall? That's a delay, right? So yeah, they're out of money, aren't they? I mean, literally out of money. Neil, I have a feeling the shutdown will be over for a short period of time after the State of Union speech, then another shutdown in February. It could be wrong, but the country is broken. Yeah, and people are comparing, Neil, thank you. People are comparing Trump to the Democrats. This is ridiculous. He's holding our country hostage because he wants to have this racist, just horrific racist monument built in his honor. He actually said he wanted his name on it at one point. I mean, this is sick. This is sick when we all know that's not how it works. People are not, and the lies. The lies are, have you guys heard anything about the prayer rugs that he claims to, he really tried to exploit that story about prayer rugs. Lakeisha, he's disgusting. Disgusting, Trump is. Absolutely. He is he's inhumane. He's unconscionable. I don't, I listened to his economic advisor, his top economic advisor, and it was sick. I don't know if you guys heard this. I mentioned this the last show, him saying how he basically thinks that everybody who's, off work is having a favor done, like free holiday. It's like, talk about out of touch. What a disgusting thing to say. And those are the people who surround him. So, I mean, I don't know. It's not good. Not good at all. But I want to talk a little bit about why this human nature we have. Surprisingly, the strange human nature. It's called the backfire effect. It's called a bunch of things, but it's this way that people are, where we incorporate the initial beliefs that we're taught and told about, and we can't let them go. In fact, we will fight anyone who tries to tell us otherwise, even if it's obvious facts. It's like, it's got to be some sort of evolutionary thing, but it is not helping us, because what it does is it takes people who have less education and less critical thinking and are less academic. I'm not talking about formal school. I'm talking about people who care and take the time to research and look up stuff. Those guys will figure this out. But it's the people who just listen to Fox News and don't think, they say that Black people are lazy, yet Black people built our entire nation and made us wealthy. So it's like that doesn't make sense. So it's like they're not thinking. They want everything at face value, and they don't want to think. So this backfire effect is a huge, huge problem. And this is why, to this day, no matter what Trump does, his base will still believe him. It's because they're not willing to go through the pain of thinking about it and saying, it doesn't really make sense. It's not a coincidence that Trump's base has very little formal or academia, interest in academia, it would seem, and that generally they have no close friends that are not white. So they're completely segregated, and it's like they're brainwashed. There is a power imbalance in our nation, and it has to do with the use of propaganda, fake news, and spin. Lakeisha, Kim, what do you think about Black people supporting Trump? I've been asked that before. And to be completely honest, obviously, I have opinions, but that's not my place. And I'm not mad at you for asking. I'm happy you asked, but that is not my place as a white person. It is not my place to tell anyone who has been in a historically marginalized group how to feel, how to think, that I know best. I don't get it. I know I'm not really answering your question. I don't get it. I don't understand how they could. It hurts. But it's not my place to speak on it. I hate to say it, but it's not. I don't understand it. But yeah, I guess it is. Here's the bottom line. I don't know how I would be if I had to endure this. I don't. And if I said I did, that would be a lie. Nobody knows what this feels like but the people who are living it. And I'll keep trying till the day I die, but I'll never know. I'll never really know. And I'm pretty sensitive, so I don't think I would have done well. Let's just put it that way. But thank you for that question. But Willie, yeah, we all of a sudden got lazy after slavery. It's ridiculous. I'm just going to say it. White people who think that, it's just, it's moronic. It's ridiculous. I don't want to talk about it. It's ridiculous, but right, exactly. I'm sorry I didn't really answer that, Lakeisha. Kim, archaeologists are racist too. Archaeologists, absolutely. Because here's the thing. With the implicit bias in our country being built, created, made, and made wealthy on white supremacy. Anyone who is white is going to be pushed into that kind of thinking. And unless you really spend the rest of your life exploring your implicit bias and possibly over racist things or, subconscious, that's why I always say anything is about racism, anything, because if a white person's talking about it, it's about racism, because you cannot be white in America and not be impacted by our cultural white supremacy. So absolutely, the books, everything, and archaeologists, and I mean, tell us more what you think, because I know you're very well read, Lakeisha. So, definitely share your knowledge. I want to know. Definitely, Vernon. We became lazy after slavery. Propaganda at its finest. There are people. Exactly. It's like when people say stuff like that, I just think they're fucking morons. I'm sorry. I know that's so rude, and I don't mean it that way, but it's like people who were forced into slavery built our nation, made our nation wealthy, worked round the clock till they died. I mean, I don't know if you guys have looked into this, but there were some studies, I guess it was a couple months back, that found burial sites, and the people studied these, people's graves who were not marked, and they found that they're supposedly they were literally worked to death. Their muscles were not attached. I mean, there were, obviously people who know much more about that than I do. And there were real studies done on this. People were literally worked to death. And we're finding more and more, scientifically speaking, of the truth. So, Fadine, hello. Thank you for being here. Deport Trump. Oh, very good. Very cute. Deport Trump. You know what? I'm reading what you're putting. I'm not going to comment on it, but I don't blame people for being really, really hurt, really, really pissed and angry. Learn social justice. That's liberalism, folks. I guess. Tell me more what you mean about that. Social, Mr. or Mrs. Learn social justice. Tell me more. I want to know what you're talking about, if you don't mind. Lakeisha, they dig for gold, diamonds, blood diamonds, digging bodies of our ancestors and exploiting them for money. Oh, geez Louise. Tell me more, because I'm not sure what you're referring to, and I absolutely believe it. But Lakeisha, tell me more. Give us articles. This is supposed to be, a discussion, and we can learn. There's definitely this horrific imbalance. People are getting their messages held for review. That means somebody's being naughty. Let me see. They won't show it. YouTube. Okay, so Mentoring 42. Tell me what you posted, so that because I can't really open it right now, but tell me what you posted so people can look at it. Because I can't tell from here, but I want to know. The imbalance of power in our nation is due to propaganda, fake news, and spin. But the largest component that is destroying America is the fact that white Americans refuse to educate ourselves. Let me see. Whoopi says that this is the reason Black people can't talk about racism with white people. And I don't know if you saw it or if you've seen it already enough to summarize it, but this happened on The View. Okay, thanks. I can't wait to watch it. I know white people can't even talk to me about racism. When I have real life talks about racism to people, they lose it. They take it personally. It's such a hard thing, but it's not about us. That is the toughest part. It's not about us. And, back to what Gary was saying, when somebody tells you something and they're, a person who's living this oppression and marginalization, it's a gift. We have to listen. And don't jump in and say, I know better, and don't do that. Okay, Lakeisha, thank you. Native American artifacts and skeletal remains for exploitation of indigenous ancestors. Money is white people's agenda behind slavery and smile on our faces while backstabbing. Yeah, the biggest thing is our culture is based on the idea that we purposefully started America by grabbing people, innocent people, and forcing them into a position of enslavement. They were humans, and now we're saying they're not, but you see, they still are. And so we are somehow dehumanizing them to the point where people believe it. I mean, talk about a nation started like that. Yeah, Willie, exactly. And I mean, yeah, it's for greed. It's so we could get rich. You don't enslave a human being for any other reason than sick, depraved, barbaric greed. I mean, Willie, absolutely. White people, the reason I'm always pushing in all of my, thank you, Willie, that's an excellent point. I'm always pushing this in all the community groups that I do is because it's not the person who's like being tormented. It's not their responsibility to teach the oppressor. Give me a break. That's ridiculous. White people, we did this. We created this. You might not have personally created it, but someone down the line who's white did. So why in the hell would we say, oh, I didn't do anything? Well, like I always say, would you walk by a pool with somebody really struggling to swim because you didn't build the fucking pool? Would you walk by somebody who needs you, your fellow human, because you didn't shove them in? Like, white people, what's wrong with us? It's just not right. And we need to be the ones to say, we did this. We can help, not lead, but we can help undo this by supporting. So that gets me nuts, but absolutely. Thank you, Willie. Neil, I hate to say this, but the division in this country between the races will affect people of all colors. White people better wake up, or their racism will bite them in the ass. And you know what? It already is. That's an excellent point, Neil. It already is. This is the craziest part. White folks love their racism so much, they go against their own best interest. It's unbelievable. Let me get some. Sorry, I'm kind of on a rampage, but you guys get me very, okay. Vernon, and nobody speaks about reparations. In my opinion, it's the only way to steer this thing in the right direction. It would force us to talk about the truth as well as address the racial wealth gap. Absolutely. And, you know, it's kind of interesting, Vernon, that's a great point. I love talking about reparations, but it's not my place. I need to listen about reparations and see what people want and need, because I'm a white person. It's not my place to say what should be. Okay. I'm not the person. I'm in the oppressor group. So absolutely. But the sad part is, Vernon, people, and I know you know this because we talk about it, but white people can't even admit that racism or systemic racism exists. They are so far in general from, it's like the denial is tangible. It's like, I don't know if it's guilt or what, but reparations, they won't even admit that there's a problem. I mean, this is out of control. Right? Okay. Lakeisha, let me see. This is why Black people don't have a single white friend in their life, because they see us as tools and tokens to use us. When they're done using us, they throw us away like trash. And I feel sad hearing that, because you're not the first person who's told me that. I've heard it from at least 5 or 6 other people over the years. And I absolutely believe it with all my heart. The thing is, like, you really, really do have to be willing, if you're a white person, to delve into this and like take a look at yourself and just, you gotta, I mean, we don't need, I always say we don't need a wall, we need a giant mirror. Our nation is not even close. I tried to talk to somebody about racism, and they flipped out. They literally flipped out and started like making a scene. It was like unbelievable. And I'm a white person, so I mean, I can't imagine Wow. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it, and I absolutely believe it, Lakeisha. It's freaking pathetic. Not you, it makes me mad. Social justice. Liberalism means individual freedom, and the sole purpose of the state is to defend individual freedom. It's your right to be racist, sexist, a Satanist. Okay. Because you have to get a hold of me, because I want to talk to you about that, because I don't know a ton about socialism in the aspect that you're talking, like real socialism. So learn social justice. It's called liberal pluralism. That's why we need socialism, which is based on social justice. Interesting. I mean, like I said before, I know people think of socialism as a dirty word, and that's ridiculous, because I believe in there has to be a balance. Gary, a good book to read, and I don't know why they held you on that. You got dinged on that. Let me see. A good book to read. Books Google. Okay, it doesn't say it and I can't open it, but thank you. I will check that out. So Gary's giving us advice on a good book to read. Chet. Dr. D'Angelo covers this very effectively with her book, White Fragility. Yes, I have heard that. They can see the problem, but their own self-induced guilt overrides any rational behavior. Thank you, Chet. That is absolutely awesome. I've watched the doctor videos, I think, and talk about amazing explanations. Thank you for that. This is the people watching and adding to this live show are giving a wealth of knowledge for the most advanced, the beginners, just everybody. Thank you so much. It's kind of funny. I get a lot of people on YouTube, especially, not so much on my Facebook communities, because I guess they know I know their friends or something. I don't know. They tell me, you just felt guilty. And it's like, no, you freaking, okay, I won't say it. I don't feel guilty. I'm pissed. Do you enjoy living in a world that's full of crap? It's lying. American freedom? Yeah, for white people and for wealthier people who are white, but it's a lie. We live a lie. And why that doesn't enrage every white person, I don't get. It's a joke. I won't live a lie. I won't do it. Maybe I can't. I won't. But anyway, thank you. Yes, Dr. D'Angelo. O.L. Griffin. Breaking Brown every Monday, Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can you put a little more notes about that? What that is? Because I want to know, like, if it's a show, if it's on YouTube. Tell me about it. So everyone watching can, and anyone who watches later. Learn social justice. When Jefferson was penning the words, "All men are created equal," a black slave was bringing him his morning coffee. Yep. Like I like to say, our Constitution had to be amended to include non-white folks. That's disgusting. That's why, in my arrogant little white opinion, it's to be dismantled. This is not being nice to everybody. A lot of white folks think, oh, I'll just be nice to everybody. I treat everyone equally. I'm doing my part. Well, no offense, but you're not. Okay? You think you are, and it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. If you're white, it's a good thing to do, but you have to do more. It's not enough. I'm sorry. White, wealthy elites who run our nation are not giving up their power. Being nice to everybody is lovely, but you're still upholding the status quo. You got to educate yourself. Miss Shari, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you for being here. Hello, I am okay. And I'm very excited to see some people I haven't seen before. Please jump in. I want to hear what you have to say and repeat it. And at some point, I want people to be on so that I can hear them and I'm not blabbing. Gary, it's the book that Chet mentioned. Okay, thank you. Oh, sweet, okay. Willie, I agree with Vernon, but it will never happen because as long as they continue to call us African Americans and not indigenous people, it won't happen. We were already here and they stole everything. Yes, and that is a point that white folks need to understand and learn. And unfortunately, it's a very advanced one. very advanced. And when I say advanced, it's not advanced for people who like go, duh, you know, it's a fact. But the problem is, again, if you look at the statistics, if you look at like Reuters or some of the more noteworthy statistician places that, half of white American adults think we're in a post-racial era. I mean, denial, my God. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I think it's a combination of facts. I actually have a theory on that I've written about and done a seminar, which no white people will come to. That's a whole other story because they're too afraid. But Dwayne, thank you for being here. Nice to have you here. Neil, this is one version of socialism. Marxist theory says socialist is the transitional stage between capitalism and communism. Yeah, interestingly, that would make sense because I haven't been in school in a long time, but I do research still. Because that's what I heard about some of the Scandinavian nations. But they had to have a very big, they had to fight, and it wasn't pretty. And our nation, oh my God, we have to be better than this. We have to be better than this. White America has never taken, in any meaningful, real way, racial responsibility. Hell, we don't even know our history. So, I mean, and part of that is being the white majority. We don't consider ourselves white people. We consider ourselves the norm. If most white people, unless they're kind of like in one of those clubs, like white supremacist clubs or whatever, Ku Klux Klan clubs or whatever, people say, white person, who are they taking? Look down. If you're white, you're one of them. We don't have a general feeling of this group we belong to. At least I don't. So anyway, let me find the YouTube Yvette Carnell, 53,391 subscribers. Breaking Brown. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I will definitely check it out. Thank you. Lakeisha, Covington Catholic School is in the news this week, and where the white teenage boys taunted a Native American man at the Lincoln National Memorial. Yes. And we're definitely going to talk about that tonight. Vernon, Yvette Carnell is the truth. I've learned so much from her. Thank you. I had never heard the name, but I learned from you guys. Everything I've ever learned about any of this is from my friends and people who care and are willing to teach me. So it's a gift, and I so appreciate it, because this is going to sound goofy. Every single day as a white person, I learn something new every day, and it's bursting out of me because this isn't how life's supposed to be. It's just not. Yes, and Gary, white people are slowly becoming the minority. And you know what? Good. Because white folks who are the wealthiest, they are not going to let go. They do not want to share this. And it's disgusting. I don't get it. Eco-socialism is the future. Interesting. I work for a Chinese company, actually, and I get the most incredible takes because after I'm doing my job, they talk to me, and they are people from China, Taiwan, Japan, and they tell me, oh my gosh, they give me it's amazing. Let me just back up because a lot of people are saying stuff. Let me see. Robert, you have a message held. I'm afraid to even see. Okay. Robert is saying, Black people are the only people that their name has been changed from so many times, from Negro to colored to African American to Afro American to Black to what will it be next week? And why is that, Robert? Anybody? Why do you think that is? The teacher in me wants to ask that. Yeah. Oh, LL Vernon Bishop, bam. They love you, Vernon. Okay, social justice. Is identity politics the same as social justice? Somebody out there, you tell me. I definitely have my opinion, but I'm a bit of a simpleton when it comes to that kind of thing. You guys learn social justice is awesome, and I want to hear what you guys think. Tell them, and I'll read it. John, that is good. I agree. Not sure who you're agreeing with, but agreeing is good. Sorry about that. I kind of get behind, and I apologize. Why is only one reason? Oh, whoa. Okay, that's scrolled up. Why it only one reason is to hide their true identity? I'm not sure what you mean, Robert. So give me more. I'm not sure what you mean. Learn social justice. Trumpers are the resistance. But what are they really resisting? That's the thing. I'm not trying to be all philosophical, but if they would learn just a little bit, they would understand that the wealthiest people who run our nation are thrilled that they don't do their own research and thrilled that they don't want to be academic and actually really delve into topics under the surface. They're thrilled because their fear tactics are fantastic and they work. So the wealthy elite who use their money to run this nation have been tricking the white masses into voting against their own best interest. And so when they resist, they're screwing themselves. Okay, I'll just say it. They're screwing themselves. I mean, what do you guys think? That's my opinion. White folks, they are literally actively destroying their own best interest. The middle class this is how it works. The middle class gets smaller and smaller and smaller. The rich get richer and everybody else until we finally say, wow, maybe we should unite. They fool the average white person into blaming all their problems on people in historically marginalized groups and Black people. And they believe it. And the backfire effect is in full working order. And they aren't letting it go. So by sustaining this lie, the hoarders of wealth are guaranteeing the white masses will never unite with people in historically marginalized and oppressed groups and realize their common plight. It's an evil genius plan, and it's disgusting. And that's why I talk about it. Michelle Alexander's book tells all about it. And if you read, was it Slavery by Another Name? I mean, there's so many things. The stuff's out there for white people to learn. And my big push is always, I don't tell Black people, African American people, Indigenous people, brown people, I don't tell you what to feel, what to think, or what to do. It's not my place, but it sure as hell is my place to get white Americans to open up their mind and give a shit and actually educate themselves, because we need to educate other white people so they can educate their kids, their family, their friends. We can help. God forbid we could help. So, okay, shut me up. Oh, John, have you mentioned those boys from Kentucky in the news over the, yes. I mean, yes. I will. I'll take a couple more, and then, yes, I have some things to say, and I'm sure I want to know what you think, because boy, oh boy, it was ugly. Daryl, your message was retracted. Lakeisha, I'm not neither. I'm a Black woman of God chosen. I'm not neither. I'm a Black woman of God chosen people. Lakeisha, can you clarify that a little bit? Because I don't want to misrepresent what you're saying. But it's interesting. There's a lot being learned in modern time. And the people who are refusing to learn the easy stuff, like the stuff that's just a fact, like, about like Black codes, sundown towns, Jim Crow, they don't even know the basics, are not going to understand all this new stuff because they don't get the old stuff. Let me see. Social justice. Learning social justice. Is religion part of the white man's plan to keep people uneducated? That is an excellent. I have a friend who I actually did a live interview with. No, it wasn't live. It was a taped interview with, who absolutely believes that to be the case. So that's definitely a good talking point. Mentoring 42. YouTube continues to freeze my this video right now. Anyone else getting that? If you are, let me know and I'll try to figure something out. Sorry about that. Learn social justice. When the Pilgrims came and prayed with the Indians, when he woke up, the Indian was holding the Bible and the white man had all of the land. Yeah. We're on stolen land. We live on stolen land. And it's kind of interesting you say that because, you know, I heard a kid in that, group of teens that were in Washington, D.C. And I actually heard him say, this was unbelievable. I'd heard a lot of things, but this kid said, oh, well, that's how it works. We fight you, we take your land, and now it's ours. And that's just how it works. Like, you're a little sicko, kid, you know? I mean, that's, wow. You know? Yeah, maybe like, I'm not sure what year he's getting that from, but we'll definitely get into that because, wow, that was an ugly scene. John, white men not reproducing, white men not reproducing, should white women, if they reproduce, only reproduce with non-white men? Ask that again. I'm not 100% sure. Let me just read that one more time. Comment on white men not reproducing. Should white women, if they reproduce, only reproduce with non-white? Oh, are you, okay, I don't want to misrepresent you, but strange noises are drowning out my live stream. Okay. Mentoring 42. I'm sorry. Anyone else getting that? If anyone else is getting that, let me know because I'll check. You're having some technical issues over there. I'm sorry. I think, John, is this what you're saying? And definitely clarify. Are you saying that white men, are you saying that maybe if white women only reproduced with non-white men, then everyone would turn more like a medium shade and all this racism might go away because it would be the majority and people would be just like, shut the hell up and stop it? Is that what you're saying? I don't want to misrepresent you. So tell me if that's what you're saying, because I've heard that a number of times. Lakeisha, you got your message held. God's chosen people are Black and brown people, and this is why white people hate us. Yeah, I don't get it. I definitely, I've heard that from a lot of people. Robert, their true identity is that they are the true people of the Bible, the Israelites. Okay, Black American. Yes, that's something that a lot of people are just learning now who are white folks, and a lot of them don't get it. They just don't get it. And so it's definitely something we need to talk about. Father Dana is somebody who I follow, and he's a friend of mine, and he talks a lot about it. I can get his stuff on here at some point if you guys are interested in spreading it to, other people who don't get it. Lakeisha, racist parents. That's why. Those boys. Is that kind of what you're referring to? Parents definitely have a lot to do with it. I'll tell you. And you know what's so crazy is, like I always tell you guys, like when I think of my upbringing, I never heard my parents say, and I didn't know a single derogatory word for anybody. I never heard them say, even my grandparents, not one word ever. But I did hear them talk a lot. My dad talked a lot about Martin Niemeyer's, his saying, the German pastor who would say, first they came for the trade unionists, and I wasn't a trade unionist, so I didn't do anything. Next, they came for, that famous saying that he used to speak to his university students after he was let out of prison. And I kind of got that. That's just, but yeah, racist parents, when you're little, especially with the, the backfire effect, you'll just cling to it. Well, because your mommy and daddy can't be wrong. So that's why I talk about Dixon White, who I did a video interview with, and he told me all about, well, I already knew because he told me before, but I put out a video on how he became like awakened kind of, and not racist anymore, at least like aware of it all. He was raised in a racist family, and I can't imagine. Like, I have to work with my own personal implicit bias and check myself, and yeah, mommy and daddy lies. Exactly, Lakeisha. Yep. And oh, it's all clear. Thanks, Dwayne. Good. So I'm not sure. Sorry about what's going on with strange noises. Mentoring 42. But yeah, I can't imagine having to undo all that. And guess what? People don't. They go about their entire white lives never knowing the truth. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So I wanted to think of an example of kind of philosophizing while you guys are thinking of stuff you want to talk about. People who are saying, people say stuff like this. Let me just back up a little bit. What's going on with what I was starting to talk about before people started saying stuff, these tricks are nothing new. Trump's use of fear and racism and bigotry and lying and deceit have been used by wealthy elites for centuries. This is what they do. They fooled the average white person into blaming their problems on Black people. But by sustaining this lie, they are keeping it going. And every generation of white folks will not take responsibility. When is white America going to say, it stops with me? It ends now. I'm not playing this game anymore. We're done. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's like, it's embarrassing to be part of the human race when white folks refuse to just learn and grow. Just saying. My saying for the first couple of years, losing my faith in humanity, one Trump supporter at a time. Because right now, you support him, you are by definition an overt racist. I mean, there's no, I've thought that since the Central Park Five. I've thought that since the minute I found out the Central Park Five, and then I found out that he was going to be running. I was like, oh my God, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. But white America has been falling for this con job generation after generation after generation and not taking responsibility. And it's still happening right now. Same trick, different generation. So my question is, how do they do it? How do they keep it going? Lies are profitable. Thank you, Mr. Justice. Lies are profitable. It's all about the money. Here's one common example that I wanted to kind of mention, and I want your input. So tell me what you think of how white people have been misguided to come to the wrong conclusion about society and what's in their own best interest. And it's based on one of the most common denials. It's a classic cliche denial of racism, and I hear it every single day. And it is, but slavery was so long ago. When I hear that, I just think, oh my God. I don't want to say what I think because it's not very nice, but people who say things like this have absolutely no freaking clue what they're talking about. They are showing this lack of, just a profound lack of understanding about, they're ahistorical, and they don't understand. Maybe they'll say, well, yeah, slavery existed, but it's over. But they do not know what they're talking about. They don't understand the depth and the horror and the treatment and it's like they can't handle it, or they don't care, or I don't know. What do you guys think? So, I mean, they have no clue how cruel and depraved and the psychological, the torture. I'm actually doing a video on everything, obviously for white folks, everything you don't know about slavery. I'm also doing a video on everything you don't know about after emancipation, because it's like they act like, oh, they were dancing in the streets with their former masters. Give me a break. It was, anyway, I'll go into it, but they know slavery existed, but they don't get just I mean, so if these folks won't even face the truth about the inhumane chattel slavery that took place here, it only goes to follow that they're going to ignore the barbaric, disgusting, depraved history that came after. Most white people don't know a single thing about what happened in this dark, dark, barbaric period of our history, which leads all the way up to us and now. It's like they just don't get it. Oh, let me see here. John, if no white babies are born and only mixed race babies or non-white babies are born, this is how to end racism in a generation. Yep. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I still think, I mean, look at South Africa. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, you know what I think will end race? This is just my like kind of white privilege idea. To end racism, as a teacher, I was a teacher for a number of years, and interestingly, special education. I think you're totally right. How about if we have a comprehensive anti-racism, anti-bigotry education program, preschool through that they have to do, not just a week, a day, a month. I'm talking every single day as a subject. We're going to learn and explore the truth, and appropriately at each level in a generation. But God knows it's never going to come from top down, because that's like they're dethroning themselves basically. But yeah. Okay, let me see. But John, I like your slant and your take. I've heard that kind of thing before. Can only hope. Vernon, or I'm poor too, what can I do? How about educate yourself? Thank you. The whole poor thing, people get like confused. Yes, in America, being poor is crime. Being poor, no matter what shade you are, is a crime. And that's disgusting. Like a lot of other countries, if you get a ticket for speeding, let's say, well, they base it on your income or whatever. If you get a ticket for speeding and you don't have a lot of money for whatever reason, you are screwed. That's a horrible thing. Somebody who's wealthy, no shit's given. It's like buying a gumball. So, I mean, we punish people. That's just the beginning. Talk about the criminal justice system. Vernon, you got me on a rampage now. You got me going on a rampage. But yeah, but a lot of white people like to kind of deflect. Well, I'm poor and I'm, but see, right now we're talking about racism. And yes, there is a horrible, horrible bigotry and discrimination against being impoverished, which is a whole huge system in and of itself. But a lot of people want to deflect. And the richest Black person, still, at the end of the day, they're Black. And they can't hide that and cover it. And if you're poor, you can go to, somehow get something that makes you look not poor, and you can somehow hide it. Not all the time. I'm not a fool. I get it. Oh, I get it all right. But it's not quite the same thing. It is a system, but I always try to deflect back over, because the truth is some of the most famous, wealthy people of color. They cannot run and hide from the racism still. It's how bad it is. But I hope I wasn't going off on a tangent there, Vernon. Robert, let me see. You got held over. Let's see what you had to say. White people are the only race without melanin, and that is why Israel have the highest skin cancer rate. Why? Because they don't belong in the land. The sun hates them. Okay. And Dwayne, let me just see. Kept going by disconnecting themselves from slavery, and the benefits from that equals white privilege. Yep. The privilege that, and a lot of white folks don't get that. They say to me like, I never owned a slave. It's like, you still benefit from the free slave labor that made our nation wealthy. And they just don't get it. Sometimes I honestly think, and I don't know what you guys think, but like they don't want to get it, kind of. They just don't want to get it. It's just too painful or something. Learn social justice. White people would put their kids in private schools. Yeah, well, that's what Betsy DeVos is basically trying to take the market out of the money out of public schools so she can have her agenda of absolute racism and her religious agenda, which is for her incredibly racist and disgusting. So yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Joey, racist. Joey, oh yeah. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean. So if you want to clarify, so it's not a wonder why when we think of the denial of what real slavery was, the denial of post, emancipation, after emancipation, that people today are like, racism, huh? White folks. I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do. And the truth is, white America has never learned about, taken responsibility for, paid reparations for, or repented for our past atrocities. And we'd rather just not know about it. We'd rather just make it all nice and pretend it doesn't exist and have no clue. Deny, gaslighting, deception, dog whistling. I mean, just refusing to educate ourselves and avoiding the truth. And it all adds up to keeping the status quo. And we're fools. We're working against our own best interest. We paid absolutely. We paid reparations to Japanese Americans. Yeah. There's something so special about America's hatred towards Black people and African Americans and indigenous people. It's like this. When I say special, I don't mean in a good way. I mean special in a really, really like a sick way. And I honestly believe it's the white elites want to blame them for everything so that they can keep the white masses, jealousy, Lakeisha, jealousy, keep the white masses blaming the wrong people for all of our problems. And it's been working. It's been working. It's unbelievable. But after emancipation, people don't know, like it's almost like the history books are void of information. It's unbelievable. They don't realize that most humans who were finally freed got nothing. They got nothing. I mean, white Americans like to make emancipation, yay, what a party. And I'm not saying it's not a great thing, but when I read some of these researchers, oh my God, they say 1 out of 4 people died of starvation and disease. I read about some of the abolitionists kept writing, Lakeisha, evil. I don't know what it is, Lakeisha, but something. Definitely something. I don't have an answer, but yeah. They said so many Black people were dying because of disease and starvation that somebody actually thought that the Black people of America would all be gone. There would be no more. And this is an abolitionist speaking. We don't like to share the truth. But the truth is, those years after emancipation, the black codes alone were, slavery under another name. That's exactly what they say. And according to historians and scholars, the fact is that it was just the beginning of a barbaric time. Flint, Michigan, water poisoning still happening. Did you hear that the 15 people were, was it prosecuted or actually convicted 15 people knew enough to actually be convicted of poisoning people. It's surreal. It's surreal. Neil, racism should be taught in our schools, so children, anti-racism, right? So children can learn to understand the real truth about Black and other people of color and how white people are not superior, but we are brothers and sisters. Exactly. Neil, the biggest thing I get when I'm on YouTube is, and this is just like the most, I don't mean to be rude, you hate your race. It's like, we're all in the same race. You don't quite, I mean, it's just, I don't know what to say to them. Yeah, I hate my race. We're in the same race. You're in the same race. They're in the, people don't get it. We're all in the same race. It's like, when they say that to me, it's kind of, oh, Lakeisha, they can sue. Oh, I hope. The thing is, are you talking about Michigan, Flint? They can sue, but the brain damage. I mean, I'm a special ed teacher. It doesn't go away. They've destroyed these people. They've rendered them disabled for life, and that is, it's unconscionable, and it's absolutely purposeful. And sorry, I'm just getting very serious right now because it's extremely upsetting to think about. Let me see. I told you about that. Let me just find my spot. Tell me what else you want to talk about, because I have a couple of things. I wanted to skip down to, I was going to talk a little bit about, if people weren't jumping in, a little bit about the repercussions and why people who say, oh, it's just been so, it was so long ago, why that's really not true. It would be very naive, it'd be beyond naive to believe that former supporters of humans who were forced into an enslaved status were suddenly going to say, yay, we lost the war, now everyone's equal. Are you kidding me? Formerly enslaved people lost out on centuries of this accumulated wealth. They lost out on the education and the ability to teach their own children, the ability to keep their own children with them. I mean, their culture, their language, who they are. And the government, our government, reneged on promises after promises. It's stolen lives. Exactly, Lakeisha. It's stolen lives. Post-slavery was the new era of cruelty and the beginning of neo-slavery, the new slavery. The atrocities continued for hundreds of years. And these people who say slavery was so long ago, what the hell? It's like, oh my God. Try redlining, black codes, Jim Crow, sundown towns, the Devil's Punch Bowl, Black Wall Street, our criminal justice system is a crime against humanity. And so is systemic racism. So, Robert, chattel slavery was the only slavery where people were property and they could be bought and sold and inherited. They lost their culture, their name, their God. Yep. This happened. So, right. I mean, I have a video out on my YouTube channel about, I'm sorry, the Irish were not slaves. It was not chattel slavery. I'm not saying bad things did not happen, but stop saying it because it's not the same thing. Their children weren't, their women weren't forced, raped, and the child taken and put into slavery so they could have more, masters could have more slaves. Year after year, generation after generation. They weren't, I don't even want to get into it. My video is I'm actually doing a video on a very, very disturbing thing, but I think that white folks need to know it, and I'm going to do it, but it's extremely hard for me to talk about. But the things that people didn't know went on, because I am hearing white people say, oh, it wasn't that bad. I'm like, don't even say that. It wasn't that bad. Seriously? They're going to go there. So they need to be educated. Let me see. More whites own homes and businesses and land. Black people own next to nothing. Well, it's because we have every time, historically, every time Black folks start to do better, and start doing very well and are able to use their talents, guess what white folks do? Our government, or, the people in charge, they destroy it. Black Wall Street. And I know there's a lot of movements that want to keep money in the Black community. And there are a lot of studies done on that. And what do you guys think? I mean, I have a friend who actually did a directory of Black businesses. And it just needs to be widespread, because I want to give I want to give my money that the small amount of money I have, I want to give it to people who are socially responsible and who are awoken and who get it. And I'm more than happy to use my white privilege and my white money to spend supporting people of color, Black people, African American people, because they get it. They get it. And I don't want to, I don't even want my plumber to be racist. I don't want my hairstylist or what. I don't go to a hairstylist. I don't. Let me see here. Let me see. John, would you support the idea of a white man arranging with a Black woman a portion of a job pay to Black women in the effort to empower the Black women? Here, the half of that's not showing, because let me just read that again. Would you support the idea of a white man arranging with a Black woman a portion of a job paid to Black women in the effort to empower that Black woman? I'm not 100% sure what you mean, John, but I absolutely support, okay, here's my take's this. Black banks. Yes, Dwayne. Oh my gosh. I actually know someone who's starting one. I absolutely support the idea that white people need to use their privilege to support and uplift our brothers and sisters of color. Absolutely. That's why I'm very keen on anyone I know that, talks to me and stuff. And I know they're cool, legit, whatever. People of color, I'll advertise anything for free on their, not maybe anything if it's something really maybe, adult products or something. But I mean, I will support their business. And because I do have some larger, medium-sized groups, I don't know if it'll help, but are you kidding me? I'll definitely, I do that. I'll post their stuff. I want to support that. So I'm not 100% sure what you meant, but I hope I kind of touched upon that. But yeah, it's our responsibility to support. I don't know. I'm just kind of weird, but yeah, it's our responsibility to use our privilege to do good. I mean, what else are we going to do with it? Robert, a buck breaking. Yeah, I didn't want to say it. Yeah. And that's a nice euphemism to call it. I'm going to be mentioning that. And motherfucker. Yes, I'm going to be mentioning that too. And I know, yep, what Robert's saying. I'm going to be mentioning it, and I'm going to be detailed about it. And people will hate me. And you know what? It's just the truth. It's just the truth. And also, some of the things that I'm going to be mentioning are some things that I've read recently. I don't know if you guys have read about this or maybe already know about it, but people who came over who were kidnapped from their homes and forced over into chattel slavery and tortured and raped and just everything. People act like they were just, didn't have any skills. A lot of these folks were very, very skilled and lived in beautiful, amazing civilizations. And when let loose and allowed to be a human, the architecture that they've built, the stuff, the knowledge, it's all, I'm learning so much, and I've been lied to so much. White folks like to think of, it just helps us to think of these people who were tormented and tortured as, they didn't do much. I'm reading some excerpts from amazingly talented people who were tormented and brought over. And a lot of times the sick, slave master would say, make your own house. I'm not gonna give you a house, make your own. And they would make these amazing houses. like architects. And it just made me realize we have been brainwashed. White folks have been brainwashed. It's disgusting. Dwayne, start putting our money in Black-owned banks. That is awesome. And like I said, I know someone who's actually trying to start a Black-owned bank. Lord of the Edge. Have you ever asked if you're essentially in a non-thesis version of Christian whereby the white privilege has usurped original? This sounds like a form of Christianity without any promise of heaven. I'm not, to be honest, I will be completely candid with you, Lord of the Edge. I know so little about religion. I'm not atheist, but I'm very agnostic. And I was agnostic as a little kid, which is freaky. But so I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about. So if you want to clarify, I would absolutely be more than happy to answer that if you're asking me or everybody else. But to be honest, I probably won't know what you're talking about because I am really bad with religion. I've just gotten a really bad taste in my mouth about religion. So I really don't know much about it. The original sin, but I'm absolutely open to discussing it. If you want to say anything, go for it. Neil, the problem is white people own the banks and loan companies, so they will give a white person the money to buy a home or help a business and turn down a person of color because of their color. Absolutely. You see it with the hidden camera things all the time. It's ludicrous. And it's de facto systemic racism. I don't know if I made up a term, but I mean, I'm not a scholar right now, and it's not law, but it's done because you can't really say why they didn't get the loan. Maybe, just like anything else, why you didn't get the job. Well, you can say it was because you were a person of color, but the white person can say, what are you talking about? It's not tangible enough to grab, and that's how they get away with it. Total BS. Great point, Neil. Robert, right. They had skills like farmers, building, blacksmiths. Yes. In math and everything. Exactly. And we've led in our school system, we are led by default to believe that they were just, these people who are, it's not true. We took that from them. We stole their language away. We stole their culture away. And I've started to read some stuff that's given me such hope, and it's actual excerpts from abolitionists who wrote about the resistance. And a lot of white folks are taught that slaves just didn't resist. Oh, yes, they did. Oh my God. The stuff I was reading today made me I wanted to have tears. I mean, it just made me so sad because freedom and hope, I truly believe, are the strongest emotion. And the stuff that I was reading about women who were being assaulted and tried to force into having babies to reproduce, to create slaves for these masters, these disgusting rapists, they had so many different ways they would go about trying to make sure they did not produce a baby. I mean, they resisted. Don't ever, if you're white, don't ever let anyone tell you they didn't resist. They resisted. They resisted in incredibly creative ways, different ways. The soul is not going to let people like to tell white people that they didn't resist, and it's a lie. It's a lie. And I've been reading some very detailed things, and oh my God, it's so intense. I am totally talking, and I should be having you. Lakeisha, white people living good at our expense. Rich people living good in nice living conditions, and Black people living in ghettos and hood-filled, crime, drug-infested neighborhoods where they set up to gentrify. Yeah, and the thing is, Lakeisha, the thing that I want white folks to know is We did this. See, our nation doesn't have a brown, a black, an African American, an indigenous problem. We have a white people problem in this nation. And people are lied to. But we have a white person problem, and that's called being educated and stepping up to the plate and taking some goddamn responsibility. And we created inner city poverty, and it was absolutely on purpose. We did this. We created a school system where the money comes from the place, money comes from the homes, that it's a cycle of poverty. We did this, and it was absolutely on purpose. So it's pretty enraging. I will shut up now. Lord of the Flies. Basically, white privilege equals original sin to you in your beliefs. Okay. I told you I wouldn't really understand what you're saying. Like the notion that white people are evil no matter and cannot be saved. I personally don't know about the whole evil thing. Like I'm kind of a follower of like Jane Elliott in the sense that if you can be taught to be racist, then you can be untaught. This is not an innate condition, but I'm not religious, so I don't really know. So definitely expand on that, because elaborate if you can, because I just don't really know much about it. Lakeisha, serious at that. Yeah. Thanks. What do you think should happen to white people as a form of punishment? Punishment. Interesting. You mean for being cruel and awful? And that's a good question. I'm a behavioralist. So that's actually a really, if you're talking to me, but I want to know what other people think. If you're talking to me personally, the best punishment is education. And you might think this is crazy, but I want people to have to live with themselves and the knowledge of what they've done. And there is no punishment that will ever make up for what has happened and what is happening. But the punishment is them becoming self-aware and knowing what they have done and having to live with it. And I know it sounds like nothing, but when you become educated like this, you got to look back and say, oh my God, I mean, you got to really look back. And the only revenge is for them to do absolutely everything in their human power to make sure that they use their privilege to go forward, because people can change. It's just a really long process. I don't know about punishment, but I'm not sure. That's a hard one for me. You guys jump in and say if you're all for the punishment, go for it. Let me see. Redline, Leslie. Lakeisha, death penalty and prison time. Deport all racists back to their European countries. Yep. Let me see. Who is asking me one more question? Lord of the Edge, like collective punishment. Should all white people be murdered? I don't think so. But I mean, no. I think anyone should be murdered. Maoist prison camps. I don't know. Let's see. I think white people's punishment they'd have to live a year of the life of a person of color and be treated like people of color are treated. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my big thing is this. Before, when a kid's born, raise them so that they're not like that. So there is no punishment because they never get like that. But Robert H., my last uncle just died and was 105, born in 1912, and his father was born into slavery. Slavery was not that long ago. Absolutely. Oh my God. My husband and I were talking, and his great-grandparents knew slaves. I mean, we're kind of like older, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was not that long ago. And anyone who says it does is completely full of it and is basically working from an ahistorical perspective. They're full of crap, basically, in my opinion. Dwayne, punishment, none that'll make up for slavery and racism, but acknowledgement is first, education is second, inclusion is third. Thank you, Dwayne. I knew you would be the voice of, yeah. And my biggest thing when we talk about reparations, it drives me nuts because a lot of white people don't even acknowledge the problem. So it's like, reparation, what's that? I mean, they won't acknowledge the problem. It's all about education, and if only it would be top-down education, that would be it. Because, Black people, they're going to get their equality, but God forbid white people lift a freaking finger and support and do what's right and take some responsibility. So I'm not saying feel guilty and, people always say, oh, you just hate white people. I do not. That's a total cop-out. I just think we're better than this. My God, we have to be better than this. It's ridiculous. It's like technology will triple and quadruple, yet people won't admit to the truth. It's like, wow. So I wanted to just briefly talk before I let people go, because I'm sure it's getting late. I wanted to talk about these Covington Catholic high school kids and their viral video with their little Make America Great Again hats. What the hell's wrong with these kids? And tell me what you think. I mean, I want to make it crystal clear, and this is my very, very white opinion. I call them magma hats. A MAGA hat is a symbol of white supremacy. It's just a replacement for a hood. And that's just, in my mind, that's a fact. You wear that, you support him, you're kind of saying it all. So when you say they've done nothing wrong, they've publicly, kind of arrogantly, gone to a rally, a whole bunch of young boys, because they are teen children, to support taking away women's rights, and they're wearing their racist hats. So by definition, they've done something wrong. As a mother, God, I would be, yeah. So don't even get me started. But Lakeisha, spoiled little brats. Little brats spoiled, rotten, and so lost young men. That was just pathetic. It was. I don't get it. I mean, talk about propaganda. Dwayne, no child or teenager needs to get in the face of a grown people. When we're chaperones. If I did that, I would have gotten snatched up with the What that boy did, that kid, that child, was obnoxious. And yes, did he have the right to do it? Well, I guess it wasn't illegal. Was it the right thing to do? Absolutely not. That was obnoxious. It was entitled. It was demeaning. Robert, prophecy, everything you talk about is in the Bible, which is a history book, a way of life, not a religion. The whites made it into a religion. And Lakeisha, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Referring to what? So I'm losing my mind here, but yeah, what I got from that was basically there's a bunch of groups, 3 groups emerged onto the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The first group was a small group of Black Israelites who were religious activists who believe that African American people are God's chosen people. The next group was these Covington Catholic school boys. He didn't have to do that in the man's face. Definitely. And the smug look, he was trying to humiliate. He was trying to be a big shot. it was a terrible thing to do to somebody. I was very ashamed of him as like kind of a mom who feels that all people parent all kids. I was like, if he ever grows up and realizes what he's done, oh my God, is he going to be embarrassed? And then the denial and yeah. So, I mean, I heard that like, and then the other group, the kids, and then the Native indigenous people were having their march, and they were trying to help. They were trying to get in there and kind of break it up, which I think is a really great thing to do. I believe that Native man that spoke. I saw his interviews. I believe him. You don't disrespect people like that. The way those kids were, one's taking all his clothes off and doing a dance, and what do you guys think? I mean, I found that to be absolutely obnoxious. I don't care who's saying what to you. It doesn't give you the freedom for poor behavior. I mean, it was pretty bad. So, I mean, I got to turn it over to you guys. I think we all saw what happened. And I don't know. One thing I don't know, was it true that people brought in, that they really brought in some sort of group to like, kind of publicity group did they actually pay for that kind of thing? I don't know. Do you guys know? But I mean, I saw kids mocking and laughing and tomahawking and making gestures. And then the part of the problem was actually the history of these kids, the history of their school. One kid's up on rape charges. 5 years ago, they did this, blackface thing. It's disgusting. Their hats. I mean, I always tell my kids, you act like good citizens. And if you ever mess up, you have a whole record of good behavior. Well, these guys don't have a record of good behavior from what it sounds like. And I'm not trying to be this judge, jury, an executioner, but boy, that did not look like good behavior to me. I was a teacher. Well, then I think I wouldn't have brought them to that to begin with, but it's a whole other thing. But I just want to know, where were the chaperones? Where were the chaperones? I do not know. So I guess the worst part about that at the end was that Trump got involved. He actually got involved and got into it when he figured that there was like this other side to it. And he jumped right in there, trying to help out those wealthy white kids, the racist supporters. And I found that to be disgusting. So if nobody has anything else to bring up, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. And I just wanted to say I appreciate you being here. If you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe to, people have more things to say. Yay. Lakeisha, school shooters. Yes, exactly. These are I don't mean to be the sister of doom, but these are the entitled, sanctimonious, uneducated, brainwashed children that will be the real terrorists in our nation, which are homegrown white men. And Dwayne, the school paid a public relations firm to help. So did they really? I heard that, but I wasn't sure if it was. Yeah, I mean, it's like, how about be a decent human being and don't pay anybody? Sorry, I'm getting like a little snarky here, but how about just be a good person? I'm sorry. Save your money and actually be a decent human. Robert, the real native was copper-colored people who Columbus found here, not the Mongoloid people who were given the title of native people. Yeah, I mean, our history was totally written by the dominant conqueror, the sick European white. I mean, Lakeisha, most racists are wealthy, middle class. Yeah, they're everywhere. Dwayne, thank you so much for being here. And That's the scariest thing for me, Lakeisha, as a white person, is not knowing who's who. I wish everyone had like a badge or something, or you're out of Louisville. Wow, thank you, Dwayne, for they actually, I just don't get it. Why not just be nice and be human, and why put money into being evil, like to change your image when it doesn't change your image? Everyone saw what went on. It was poor behavior. It was not behavior becoming of a good person. I don't need a religion to tell me that. It's not good. There's got to be a mom. And look, John, find a black friend and do things for them. You know what? That's a really, really nice thing. I love that. Anyone else want to jump in and just say anything? Because anything goes, because everything in our society is intertwined with white supremacy. So if you know anybody who wants to learn, I would love more people to subscribe. I'd love more people to come to this and just talk. And I'm open for suggestions. If you have ideas, I won't jump on you. Just tell me. I want to know. I mean, I want your suggestions of what would make it better. I want this to be really good for everybody. So I want to say thank you so, so much for being here. And if you want to support the idea that is kind of my main thing, that, oh, Shan, you're here. Hello. Yay. We're just wrapping it up, but I'm so happy you're here. Oh, John, that is why Black women need to make mixed babies with white men. Yes, to speed the process of, you know what? It's a theory. It's a theory. Oh, Antoine, you're here. Hello, beautiful America's land. I know you always say that. And that is like your slogan. Tell me more about it. Tell me more about it before we wrap up, Antoine. I cannot read all that. I don't know what I can do on YouTube. But you always put that, and that's like a slogan you have, and I want to know more about it. I want you to tell us more. Tell us more. You're at the bar. Sorry, Shannon. It's okay. Hey, it's okay. Just happy to have you. You're adorable. Oh my God, that's too funny. But I was just wrapping it up. But if you believe like I do that it is way past time for white Americans to take racial responsibility, please get people to listen, get people to learn. Some of my videos are very, very upfront, and some of them are just very like sweet and nice. But most of them are kind of candid. So it's a bit of a shock to the system, but please send people to my YouTube. It's way past time for us to take some responsibility. And it means educating ourselves so we can educate other white people, not to lead, not to be the boss, but to support real equality. Give money, white men, give money to Black women. John, you're actually kind of hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I love all the ideas. And thank you. Thank you for being here and giving your input, and send your friends. Antoine, just to wake up everybody about this society, most people have a blind eye and a deaf ear. Absolutely. Yep. Wake up, white people, and get a grip and start caring about your brothers and sisters of color. Because you know what? Caring about them is caring about you. And that people don't get this. And 2019 is pathetic. Robert, no, John. Whoa. A fight. No, I'm just kidding. No, John. DC, that was forbid by most high schools. The God of Israel. Okay, so you guys are talking. Okay. Neil, white people better set their alarm clock because the clock is ticking and we're running out of time. Yep. People are not going to. People are learning, and it's a slow process, but they are learning. And even white folks are getting really sick of the bullshit white people are pulling. So, white America, for our own good, for your own good, for everybody's own good, needs to get educated, get with the program, and make liberty and justice for all, for everybody, and not a joke. God, I would love to live long enough to see that be actually a real thing. Thank you for watching, and please send people my way. Shan, I live in Madison, Wisconsin. Everyone is so liberal. So they say. Thank you. Thanks for being here, you guys. I'm going to shut up for once, and definitely keep the conversation going and send your friends to educate them. Thanks for being here. Bye. Please come next week. Bye-bye.